Is it time to worry? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Raptors. I'm your host, Tishan, my channel where you get reviews, analysis, predictions, and hot takes on all things Raptors as well as some NBA. So, the Raptors played the Philadelphia 76ers today in Game 2 of the playoffs, and it was kind of a similar story of Game 1. So, without a further ado, let's talk Raptors versus the 76ers. So, like we expected, basically the Raptors came out with great energy, great you say grit, and they punched Philadelphia in the face. Now, when we punched them in the face, it seemed like Philadelphia again got some help from the freaking refs in order to get back up from the mat, right? Let me see here. Hold on. So in the first quarter, Mr. Embiid shot 15 free throws. The Raptors were called for 9 fouls, whereas the Philadelphia 76ers were called for 2 fouls. Now, I'm not saying that's the main reason that the Raptors lost. There are several reasons, and that's gonna be my key takeaways. But this is just getting ridiculous on the amount of bullshit that's happening on the officiating. But the Raptors I think they won the first quarter. And then the second quarter came around, and Gary, we didn't have Scotty Barnes after freaking Joel Embiid stepped on his ankle, and he's walking around in the boots, so we're missing him. Thaddeus Young with a fidgety thumb. Gary Trent Jr. is sick, so we really didn't have him. He was just a shell of himself on the floor, and the Raptors were struggling. The Raptors, Freddie came out in the first quarter, scored 15 points, but after that, he couldn't get a shot. Pascal was trying his best as well. And there was no production from Precious Achiuwa, Malachi Flynn, any of those guys. And eventually, the 76ers start taking the lead. And at one point, they were up by 27 points. I think it was in the fourth quarter or the end of third quarter. And that's when, Nick Nurse decides to go to Khem Birch for a long duration of time. And it seemed like it started to figure things out for us. And, OG Anunoby gets it going. He's been going this whole time, and I'll get to him as well. So, and the Raptors cut it down to 11 points deficit with about, I think it was 7 minutes left. And guess what happens right on the spot? The refs start calling ticky-tacky bullshit again and break our momentum. And basically, they call a foul. James Harden goes, they get the possession. They score 2 points. We go to the other side. OG Anunoby slips. Tyrese Maxey gets the ball. He goes and hits a transition 3, and it's over at that time. The Raptors put up a good effort, but they're playing 8-on-5. And I'm not saying that Philadelphia didn't deserve to win this game because they played well, no doubt. But they're getting extra help. That is not fair. In this game, the Raptors shot 8 free throws compared to, I think it's 25 to 27 free throws that the Philadelphia 76ers shot. That is a huge difference in the amount of free throws between the teams and the amount of fouls. If both teams are playing physical, which they are, there should be an equivalent amount of free throws. It should be, like I said in my last video, it should be either that you're calling it even for both teams, there's a lot of free throws, or you're not calling it for both teams and you let them play. But that is not happening. And it's just the Raptors are fighting against not just the Philadelphia 76ers, they're fighting against this all crap officiating. And Pascal picked up a tech today. Nick Nurse, I think, was very close to picking up a tech today because it's just getting ridiculous in the differential in the type of officiating. Now, did that really have a lot to do with the Raptors losing? No. It was just one of the 5 factors that was there because the Raptors have some issues going right now. And that's my first key takeaway. The Raptors defense is not looking like the Raptors defense we know it to be. Because it seems like we're missing defensive schemes, we're missing rotations, which is leading to guys like Danny Green getting open threes, Tybalt, Niang, these guys. It seems like the Raptors are too focused on Joel Embiid and James Harden, and they're just saying, hey, let's let the other guys beat us. And the other guys are beating us. And even when we're guarding, Joel Embiid and James Harden, they're going to get officiating calls. So we're not able to go too physical on them. And our defense hasn't been able to figure out how to defend them without, the refs just blowing every whistle there possibly is in favor of Embiid and Harden. So the Raptors are struggling on that defensive part. And there's also the X factor, whereas we don't have our X factor in Gary Trent Jr. They have Tyrese Maxey, and nobody's been able to defend him well. Malachi did a pretty good job today, but I think I would like to see Armani Brooks on Tyrese Maxey next game, because Armani has a little bit of size. He's quick. He doesn't, he's not, you would say, too much of a rookie. He does have that veteran aspect to him. Even though he's a young guy, I think he is kind of a rookie, but he just shown better defensive abilities as well as mindset when he's been defending him. And he was there, I think, in the last game that we played in the regular season. So he would be a good, possible player to put on on Tyrese Maxey if we don't have Gary Trent Jr. next game. And that is my second key takeaway, guys. The Raptors, like I said in my videos in the dreams and reality thing, that the Raptors are part of a reality. It's a horrible reality right now, but the Raptors are the team that don't have all of their players. They lost Scotty Barnes after the first game. He would have been big this game because the Raptors had momentum after the first quarter. We don't have Gary Trent Jr., who's very, very sick. Thaddeus Young, who's our veteran guy, who was, possibly able to keep us in the game, get us calmed down for our bench unit and things like that. So it's just been that type of a series for the Raptors, especially given the level of physicality that they're facing and the calls that they're not getting, is leading to the Raptors pushing too hard and possibly, not having enough the guys to be able to help them out when the guys that are pushing, like Pascal and Freddie, are getting into foul trouble because they're just frustrated. So the Raptors are facing that uphill battle where they don't have all of our guys. The rhythm is off because of it. Now I'm hoping in the game on Wednesday, we do get Gary Trent Jr. back at his 100% and ready to bounce back and just show everybody what the hell the Raptors are all about. Now, the third key takeaway, guys, I have is the Raptors. It seems like there's too much iso ball going on. It feels like Freddie and Pascal, they're great players, but they're going into too much isolation, especially in the court, half court. When we're not getting our transition, the Raptors are a team that are able to get into the paint, pass type of situation and get the shots off. And it seems like Nick Nurse hasn't been able to accumulate or assimilate OG Anunoby too much into the offense when we need him. Philadelphia, they have 3 or 4 guys going off. We need OG to go off, and he should be more of a primary player, given the fact that Pascal's going to get more attention, Freddie's going to get more attention. So who do you go to? You go to either Gary Trent, who you don't have right now. Then you got to go to OG Anunoby because he's showing you he scored 20 points in both of the games. He needs to be more of an offensive weapon, especially down the post where he has possible advantages against other defenders. I would like to see that. Honestly, I think OG should be the X factor, or the player that Nick Nurse decides to go to, because he was a major part in our comeback today when we cut it down to about 11 points, because it was basically OG getting the ball on screens. Freddie is facilitating, so was Pascal. So we do have that weapon. It's just he hasn't been used as much as he should have been used just for now. But I think if Nick Nurse identifies that for the game on Wednesday, it'll be a completely different game. The last key takeaway I have, guys, and it's going to be something it's both a positive and negative. So the negative aspect of it seems like at the moment for the Raptors, young guys like Precious Achiuwa, Khem Birch is not young, but he doesn't have much playoff experience, Malachi Flynn, these guys, the moment is getting a bit too big for them, right? And it seems like they're not bringing that energy in that we need them to bring in. And the positive of that is if we can figure that out, if they can figure that out, the Raptors have put it to the new Philadelphia 76ers in both games. If you take out the officiating aspect of it, the free throws and all that crap, the Raptors have been in these games. None of their stars have done 40, 50-point games on our ass, and the Raptors have done well. So it's just a moment the Raptors need to settle down, relax, and play the way they're used to playing. They shouldn't let the moment be the one dictating what they're doing, and that's what it seems like the Raptors are doing at this moment. Do I think they're going to continue to do that? No, because we're going to be in front of our home fans in the next game, and it's going to be a different, environment. The guys are going to be feeling more positive and more amped up. The crowd is going to be in there every time they shoot the ball. They're going to be doing well to help our guys out, and I think the young guys will figure it out. And if they get that one game under their belt where they win with the crowd behind them, I'm sure that will be good for the Raptors going forward. Now, am I worried that the Raptors are going to lose this series? No, not yet, because the Philadelphia 76ers took care of business, what they're supposed to do at home. Now it's time for us to do that. The time that a road team wins is when a series starts. So right now, in my opinion, if the Raptors win the next 2 games at home, this series is still not started. It's when the road team wins, or it's game 7, in my opinion. So I'm not that down. I think the Raptors will do well. I think the Raptors will go back to their drawing board. They'll be able to figure things out, especially given the fact that Nick Nurse is a very good coach and he hasn't been out-coached in these games. It's just the Raptors players have been a little bit out of sync. And if they figure that sync out, especially if he can get at least one person out of Gary Trent Jr. or Scotty Barnes back, I don't think Scotty's going to be back given he's walking in a boot. If he can get Gary Trent Jr. back, that will be a major step up for the Raptors going forward. So, guys, stay tuned for that game on Wednesday. I will see you guys after the game. The Raptors will win that game. That is my predictions, and we will. I am sticking to my prediction. The Raptors will win this series in 6 games, like I said. So that's all I have for you guys for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Oh yeah, and a lot of people asked me what my title for the last game was. Woke up the sleeping Giants. I meant the Raptors. The Raptors were sleeping, and I think they're still sleeping, and they're gonna be woken up now. So that's what I meant. I didn't mean Sixers. Sixers not no Giants. They're a bunch of dipshits. Anyways, see you guys after the next video.